this is shit that goes off. But it's just a little fruit pie. It's a fruit pie. It's a fruit pie, trust me.
Up to break me down, to build me up again. They like, Hov, we need you back so we could kill your ass again. You know, it's like this thing, this love.
In the world of hip-hop, it's no surprise that artists often clash. These showdowns quickly turn into gossip gold, sparking endless speculation as fans dissect every single move and detail. Lately, all eyes have been on the drama kicked off, when 50 Cent threw some heavy shade at Jay-Z during a recent interview. While reflecting,
no, I want you to tell it.
You really are the best. You proving it here today. As much as I'm proving it, you proving it. You proving it. Yeah, that wasn't the thing. It wasn't. People say that he lost $50 million. No, that's not even close to what happened to this dude. And until you understand what happened to the dude, you don't understand what happened. Like, no, not they offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times, just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right, because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Kid, I need to know. You here, get your number.
Thank you, sir.
reflecting on his own journey to success and the role of connections in the game, 50 Cent made a bold statement, claiming that Jay-Z's rise to the top was mostly thanks to his relationship with Beyoncé. According to 50, Jay-Z only started, stacking up awards and accolades after linking up with her, and in a shocking twist, even their kids seem to rack up Grammy wins without ever having to compete. Now,
and that she knew someone that went through Jimmy Hinchman proffer agreement for a drug case. And the proffer agreement revealed that Jimmy Hinchman, he could have walked away if he would have given up Diddy. What she mean by that?
Well, what happened was is that they had 9 different sessions with Jimmy Hinchman regarding his proffer agreement. So that means the feds went in there 9 different times to talk to him. And in those sessions, they asked him, what do you know about Sean Puffy Combs or Sean Diddy Combs? I don't think it was Puffy at that time. It wasn't Diddy at the time. But what do you know about Sean John Puffy Combs having sex with underage boy? And you gotta realize, and people never think about this, that Jimmy and his brother, I think they had the same charges. But his brother walked away from that, and Jimmy gets life without the possibility of parole, I think. Which is crazy. For any drug charge. Nobody should spend their life in jail for drug charges. And just drug charges. But I think they try to tie him to some murders or something like that. I don't know that to be for sure. But he shouldn't spend his life in jail for no drug charges. Not at all. So, but they was gonna let him walk. If he'd have probably had to for that proffer agreement, they probably let him walk. If he had any information regarding Puff having sex with underage boys. That the feds asked him in 2011. In 2011, brother. So what did the feds know? Because the feds not coming there unless somebody made a report or somebody made some allegations against Puff. In 2011, to ask a friend of his, Jimmy Hinchman, what do you know about that? But for them to ask him about that, it had to be more than a rumor. Somebody made a complaint somewhere. And the feds got hold to that complaint. Now they're going to investigate that complaint when they get people under the barrel. like they had Jimmy Henchman. That's why they asked him.
If he did know information, right, why you think he didn't tell?
Then they would ask, how do you know? And then it comes into play, whereas that if you know of anybody that's in danger in the welfare of a child, and you see that, and you don't report it, you're just as guilty as the person who does it.
While some might brush off 50 Cent's remarks as just trolling, it's clear there's a much deeper rivalry brewing between these two legends. 50 has a long history of targeting Jay-Z, even recalling a moment at the American Music Awards where Jay-Z threw a subtle jab at him. Despite all of Jay-Z's wealth and success, it's obvious that 50 Cent's ongoing digs have struck a nerve, sparking heated debates among fans about the true motivations behind his constant criticism. Now, before we dive deeper, I just want to say I know a lot of people are curious about these stories because they're from back in the day. And honestly, if we had known back then that YouTube and social media were going to be a thing, some of this stuff probably wouldn't have played out the way it did. But hey, that's life, and these are just old-school stories I'm clearing up. So let's start with one that goes way back. When I was in Atlanta with Puff, we ended up at an exotic bookstore. Now, I had never been to one of those places before, so I just followed Puff around as he picked up whatever he was getting. They handed him a brown paper bag and he started throwing stuff in there, just shopping away. I figured, okay, let's see what he's grabbing. Then he grabbed a few things off the shelf to my left, and I took a peek at what it was. To my surprise, it said, butt plugs. I couldn't help it. I had to mess with him. We were tight, like family, so teasing him was just part of the fun. I'm like, yo, what's this for? He's like, yo, can I shop by myself? I was like, yeah, man, do your thing. No security drama, just friends messing around. Anyway, Puff finished his shopping, and when he went up to pay, he didn't even show the cashier anything. He just dropped a fat stack of cash. No 20s or 50s either. I mean, it was a serious stack, like something out of a movie. After that, we left the store and got ready to head out to North Carolina for a show. And that's when things really started to heat up. So here's the thing. You know how it goes in this game. We had this whole crew, right? It was me, Puff, this rapper, Sarah, and another girl. We were all flying on this G5 jet to North Carolina for a show. But what went down next was straight out of a movie. So, later that same day, I'm hearing noise at the door of the presidential suite we were staying in. I open it up and this guy's like, yo, I'm here for my cousin. I asked him, who's your cousin? He says, Jew. I told him, look, he's busy right now. The dude wasn't having it, though. He asked, busy doing what? I said, he's in the room with Puff, man. They don't want to be disturbed. But this dude, he was hell-bent on getting in. I'm going in there, he says. I had to let him know. Bro, you ain't going in there. He wasn't having it, though. He tried to force his way past me, so I grabbed him and threw him against the piano. Puff and Jew run out of the room. Towels around them, and the whole scene is crazy. Then Jay-Z steps out asking, yo, what's going on? And I told him, this dude tried to get in the room after I told him no. Puff's like, what happened? I said, he was trying to get in the room. I stopped him. Jay-Z looks at the dude and says, yo, you don't want to go in there. It's a lot of freaky stuff going on. I just laughed and thought, man, this is wild. So, after that, the dude left, but the next day at the concert, they tried to step up to me. But I told my man Frank, yo, put yourself in my shoes. If Jay told you to keep people out of the room, what would you do? Frank looked at me and said, you good, you good. And that was that. Now, looking at everything going on with Jay-Z, aside from 50 Cent, he's had his fair share of criticism, especially for his collabs with controversial figures like R. Kelly. Some people say that Jay sold out his integrity for the bag. But on the flip side, there are those who believe that Jay's success is all about strategic moves and his business genius, not just luck. He played the game well, and there's no denying his influence. And while we're on the subject of legendary figures, did you ever work with Tupac? Nah, I didn't, but I saw him just before he passed, man. That's crazy, right? He did some legendary stuff. Movies like Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson, Gang Related, all that. But no, never worked with him directly. Did you ever hear that Gang-related soundtrack? It was crazy good. I hadn't listened to it in a minute, but it's solid. Now, with everything going on with Diddy and the back and forth between him and 50 Cent, it's wild. I've got some stories there too, especially with Suge in the mix. The drama around these guys, it's just crazy. What do you think's going down with Diddy? Man, with everything happening with people like Little Rod and the stories circulating about him, his house getting raided and all that, it's wild. I mean, this whole situation is out of control. But you know what? I wake up one morning, turn on the TV, and see Cuba Gooding Jr. pulling me into this mess. I think whatever he's dealing with, that's his journey, right? And honestly, I can't imagine he's dumb enough to keep whatever he's doing right on his property. The whole raid thing, I'm just waiting for more info to come out, who was involved and who was really frequenting those places. It's funny, though, my lawyer told me, man, every media outlet wants to talk to you. But I'm not about to define myself by some headline. So I kept quiet. Now, here's a funny story for you. My girlfriend, Claudine Darrow, she's the granddaughter of Robert Darrow. She was married to his son, Raphael, but we've been together for a while now. She used to run Naomi Campbell's publicity back in the day. She also worked with P. Diddy when he first started throwing his infamous white parties after he got cleared of all those charges. She helped him reshape his image. They were friends for years, but I didn't actually meet Diddy until around 2019 or so. We just crossed paths a couple of times casually, and then one night, he invited us over to his place when the pandemic started easing up. As the beef between Jay-Z and 50 Cent heats up, fans are on the edge of their seats wondering what's next. Tensions keep escalating, and it's clear that it's not just about music anymore. It's personal. Now, as for that picture that's floating around where it looks like I've got my shoulder on Diddy or whatever, they made it look way worse than it was. Let me clear that up. That was from New Year's Eve on P. Diddy's yacht. I was on one boat, Tyson was on the next, and Diddy's ship was the third. Diddy was with his videographer, just chilling, playing some of his new tracks. They asked if I wanted to hear his new song, so I sat down next to him, listened to it, and then we talked for a bit. It's funny because they used a weird angle to make it look like something it wasn't. But that's the game, right? You know how they make stuff look the way they want it to. But anyway, the dude who's suing Diddy, trying to go after his money? Yeah, I'm sure that's what it's all about. I don't know Diddy's personal life or what he's going through, so I can't speak to what the cops might find. Were we close friends? Nah, man, we were more like acquaintances. I think people are just throwing me into the mix because of my own history and the cases I've dealt with before. A lot of that stuff was from back in 2018 and 2019, around the time of the Me Too movement. It was all just crazy back then. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with Diddy, but it's definitely going to be interesting to watch. As for 50, I know he reached out to me once saying, "We need to uplift black entertainers. Let's work together." I was like, yeah, I'm down, so we'll see where that goes. You know, I try to stay out of the rap drama. I like the music, but I don't get caught up in the beefs. Speaking of which, have you heard about the drama between Lamar and Drake? I just found out about it, and then I saw news about a shooting today at Drake's place. It's crazy. Apparently, a security guard got seriously injured during a drive-by shooting right outside his Toronto mansion. Man, the tension in the air is palpable. As for 50, the way he's relentlessly going after Jay-Z's credibility is just wild. The whole thing is a mess, rivalries, accusations, and public jabs. Who knows what's really going on behind the scenes? The feud between Jay-Z and 50 Cent has become a public spectacle, with 50 Cent calling out Jay-Z for everything from questioning the legitimacy of his awards to accusing him of abandoning former collaborators. While some might dismiss 50 Cent's remarks as nothing more than trolling, there's a deeper tension beneath the surface. It's clear that the rivalry isn't just about music. It's about power, influence, and who truly controls the narrative in the hip-hop industry. This tension has sparked heated debates among fans, with some seeing 50 Cent's attacks as a genuine critique, while others view them as a way for him to elevate his own status. The controversy isn't just about personal animosity. It raises the bigger question. What does it really take to succeed in an industry where image often matters more than talent? Thinking about the nature of success, I can't help but reflect on a conversation I had with Tupac years ago. I was in a hotel lobby in Chicago when Tupac approached me. He was dealing with the chaos of his life, and sensing the madness around him, he asked, "Cube, give me some advice." I told him, "Just remember your artistry, man. Don't let the madness distract you from what brought you here." He thanked me, hugged me, and walked off. 2 or 3 weeks later, he was gone. A few years later, I ran into him again in Vegas while I was there for a hockey tournament. He was in a Rolls-Royce convertible, surrounded by people with guns, and I called out to him. He looked at me and said, "Cube, I'm good," before waving me off. Later that night, he was shot. What really stands out is how, just hours before his death, all those undercover cops were surrounding him when I tried to approach. It's strange, and something about it doesn't sit right. Why were they ready to take me down, and I'm just an actor? It's eerie how it all unfolded. On the topic of money, people often ask about the biggest paychecks I've seen in Hollywood. Jerry Maguire was a huge break at $600,000, but the real payday came with Snow Dogs. I pulled in $13 million that year with the film and some other ventures. It was an incredible year, but here's the truth. That money's gone now. I made some good investments, but at the end of the day, that $13 million has been spent. It's just the nature of the business, but you learn to move on and keep making more moves. Now, back to the main topic, the ongoing feud between Jay-Z and 50 Cent. It's more than just a clash of careers, it's a battle of egos. Jay-Z is known for making strategic, calculated moves, while 50 Cent thrives on being outspoken and confrontational. Their approaches couldn't be more different, and it's this clash of personalities that fuels their ongoing rivalry. Both have built empires, but their paths to success have been wildly divergent. The question remains, who's truly in control of the hip-hop throne? Is it the methodical businessman, Jay-Z, or the unapologetic and in-your-face 50 Cent? But beyond the personalities and personal jabs, there's a larger question hanging over this feud. What does it really mean to succeed in the music industry? Is it about raw talent, or is it about the connections you make along the way? In a world where perception often trumps reality, how much of an artist's success is based on merit versus the right alliances? 50 Cent's criticism of Jay-Z might be fueled by more than just rivalry. It could be rooted in his own insecurities. Despite his commercial success, he's often overshadowed by Jay-Z's cultural relevance and mainstream appeal. By taking aim at Jay-Z, 50 Cent might be trying to carve out his own space in the hip-hop world, ensuring his place in history and asserting himself as one of the genre's true titans. As this rivalry continues to heat up, fans are left wondering, where does this all go from here? The stakes are higher than ever, and neither artist seems willing to back down. Whether it's Jay-Z's strategic genius or 50 Cent's bold, unfiltered style, the battle for hip-hop supremacy is far from over. And as both artists continue to clash in public and private, the question of who will come out on top remains unanswered. One thing's for sure, this feud is only going to get more intense.